Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis, here to bring you magic makers from around the globe, people who are creating change, who have small businesses, large businesses, hobbies, but they are creating the life of their dreams. And that, my friends, is what living is all about. So let us know how you like this episode. Please subscribe, and we'll see you there. Thanks for joining. All right. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to this episode of Heart and Hustle. Visionaries, healers, movers, shakers. People who are creating change in the world, creating magic, creating dreams come true, living the life of their dreams, and helping other people do that too through so many methods and ways. And I love that. I love that I get to bring you all these beautiful people. And I am Paulette Rees-Denis, in case you're here with me for the first time. I am your movement motivator and your passion instigator and your magic maker and a million other things. Being slightly multi-passionate, lifestyle coach, author, poet, working on my fifth book. Pretty exciting, working on that. I know. And we're in the sixth year of this podcast, which I'm very proud of and very excited about because I have met so many fabulous people and I get to share them with you, my beautiful people out there. So today I have this fantastic woman who is in New York, and her name is Mystral Echavvaria.
Yeah. That's me.
Close. Okay, good.
Got
Anyway,
it.
really excited to meet her, and we have so much in common. We're kind of on the same paths in different ways, which a lot of us are. And anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is gonna be fun.
I'm
So
looking forward to it.
awesome. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Um, she's a power integration mentor, intuitive growth architect. I mean, how about those were some words, right? I love that. I love coming up with beautiful words to describe what we do. That's different. That's telling but different. And she helps soul-led women, coaches, healers, creatives, entrepreneurs, neurodivergents, reclaim their voice and step into their visibility and their worth in so many ways. She has lots of tools in her toolbox, which she's going to tell you about. So I'm really excited to have her here. Um, I'm so curious about the nervous system regulation because I think that's really important for us women, especially in this day and age, and especially as we grow older. Now you're quite a bit younger than me, um, but I love this path that you're on. And the thing that she says, and I love this so much because I've been saying this for years, is my work mixes the woo with the practical. And then I read her bio, and she's like all about practical woo.
It's my catchphrase.
Yes, so good, so good. So we're little soul sisters there. So anyway, welcome, welcome, and why don't you tell us some juicy stuff about yourself?
Oh, what do you want to know? I'm so grateful to be here. I was listening to some of your episodes and I was like, I also felt that I was like, oh, I feel like there's the soul sister thing here happening. And so yeah, I'm it's been a bit of a journey. We all go on journeys to get ourselves to this place. I've always been a learner. I don't know if you're familiar with human design at all, but
Yes.
I'm a 5-1 generator. So I remember I just started learning about human design about a year ago, and when I first did, um it wasn't even like I was learning anything new about myself. It was just like describing aspects of myself that
Like
I was like,
confirmation, right?
oh, wow, are you in my brain? Um,
Manifesting generator.
oh, okay, yeah, there we go. And so that one line is that like seeker, that like knowledge seeker. And I am like my friends will all joke I'll say, "Oh, I'm learning this new thing in this like thing that I'm learning about." They're like, "Another one, Mystral?"
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I've been along the road. I was just mentioning to you, I went to an arts high school, so I started off in the arts kind of space, but in college I kind of felt like that wasn't, I loved my art. I was a dancer like you and photographer. Now I do moon photography and
I got
when
my bachelor's degree in photography.
no way. Oh my God. See, there's so much in common
You
here.
know, oh my God.
And I just kind of felt like I didn't want that to be my life. And so when I started looking at it, I was always a bit of an anatomy geek. I had a chiropractor that I've been going to, I think, since I was in my mother's womb, and I just always admired how he practiced. I still see him to this very day here in New York
Wow.
City. And I think that I just was like, yeah, I want to go into something with body work. I ended up going and studying massage therapy in Costa Rica. And
Oh, in San Francisco, not Costa Rica. But
okay.
yes,
Yeah, no.
I did that too.
That that was a whole experience. We had a little toucan that would come in because we worked outside, and toucan would come in and like toss our water bottles over.
Love it. Oh my God.
But yeah, no, that just really started getting me tapped into understanding the body. I ever since then, I started a massage practice out of my home wherever I was all through college. Um, in college, all of my friends were other like artists and musicians in Boston. And so I would have this fun game where I'd be like, okay, don't tell me what you play, because these are kids that are practicing a certain instrument like 10 hours a day or something. So I'd be like, let me massage you and then guess what instrument you play based on like where you're holding tension. Uh,
Ah,
and yeah, and from then on, I just kept kind of learning and moving different um every time I learned something new, I wanted to, I'd explore something for myself. I'm the biggest guinea pig. I'll try everything and anything. And when I find something I really like, then I go and get certified in it and want to learn all about it and go down that rabbit hole too. So I just kept piling things on to work with my clients and support them. You know, I feel like I learn things and I learn them really intensely and deeply and thoroughly. And I'm all about trying to like shorten that path so I can somehow make some sort of combination that helps other
yes,
people not
absolutely.
necessarily need to go down the rabbit hole like I did in order to get the thing that they need. I can just kind of support them
Well,
through.
it's like it's living with curiosity
Hmm.
and interest. I mean, pursuing your interest on so many levels. And I know, I've been on that path too. And it was like, how am I going to combine all these things? And then you find a way.
Yeah,
You find a way.
exactly. And I think there's something that's really important. I mean, one of my biggest like values and like things that guide me that I have to keep reminding myself is that word curiosity.
Mhm.
Because I think there is something there talk about nervous system regulation, right? And so when you're curious, your system is like there's a little bit of a fun, there's a little bit of like, ooh, what's happening here kind of a feeling in your body versus like this desperate need to know sometimes, which we can like push ourselves, especially if you're in the world of academia or if you're trying to learn all the things, and it can come from a place of I'm not enough, so I need to know more versus, ooh, what is this about? And I've definitely found myself in that pattern. And I've found that my cycles of burnout throughout my life have come when I've been in this. I've always been a knowledge seeker, but when I go down the rabbit hole, because I'm like, I need to know this, otherwise I'll fail. I need to know this, or I'm not good enough, or I should know this better, or something like that. Then that's when I end up hurting myself and kind of totally burning out or not listening to my body and, creating toxic relationships and things like that because I'm like, it's from coming from a different place and not a place of curiosity. You actually turn off the curiosity and you're not listening to any signals that are coming your way, which is part of your nervous system trying to tell you it. I call it with my clients, your emotional dashboard. And
Mm, mm.
so I say you have this emotional dashboard, and our emotions are like little, like you imagine like a pilot flying. And the pilot can fly through clouds. They don't have to see what's right in front of them because they have this whole dashboard in front of them that's lighting up signals and telling them how high they are off the ground, what the air pressure is, this and whatever. And I feel like that's our emotional dashboard, but we don't listen to it. We're just like, shh, and we actually like turn off all the bells and whistles, and we're like, why aren't things working? And it's because we weren't listening to the fact that we were about to crash
Yeah.
land or something like
And
that.
you step into that place of either resistance or full speed ahead
Yeah,
and not listen, right?
right. And I think part of that nervous system regulation is actually about recalibration because sometimes we learn it's like having a check engine light that goes off too early or goes off too late sometimes. And so sometimes we train it to go off early or too late. And so sometimes we need it to recalibrate to a place where it's telling us when something is needing attention for reals or anyways, there's a lot I could say on nervous system regulation because it's been one of my biggest teachers, I think, in life of when I've felt more in tune with life, when I've felt like I've connected with people who I'm like, oh, people get me, or when I get creative about something and I'm like, ah, I'm feeling in flow, things are working, it's usually because I'm listening to myself.
Mhm.
And the times when things aren't working, it's usually because I'm kind of trudging head first
Right.
and ignoring a lot of what my body's trying to tell me.
So, okay, so this nervous system, but intuitive guidance,
Mhm.
checking in with that intuitive guidance. So what would you say about that? How would you tell someone to check in with their intuition?
I think so. I had a really interesting conversation in a coaching group a couple years ago and I've been a very highly intuitive person. I think that's why I was originally very good at massage. I didn't realize until I started doing energy work years later that I was probably doing some form of energy work with my massage and that I just kind of knew how to massage someone because I was listening intuitively. I, so for me, it's always been a very obvious thing. And then I was in this conversation of this group, and this one girl was like, I wish I had intuition. And for me, I was like, what? I was like, people don't know they have intuition? Like this was such like
Ah,
a
right.
weird, I was like, what? I was like, hold up, hold up. I think everyone has intuition. I think that the volume can be, turned down really low sometimes for whatever reason we are taught not to listen to our intuition or it's too much and we don't know how to handle it or whatever the reasoning is. And so I think that tapping in to listening to that intuition is about turning the volume up little by little, building, I call your intuitive muscle sort of a thing. Um, and I think that that comes a lot, the way that I train it as like a trainer kind of a thing of your intuitive muscle is through decision making. Um, I think so much of that indecision fatigue that I don't know if I think a lot of people who are in the perfectionist, people pleaser type personalities, it's just decisions have so much weight on them and there's so much self-doubt of is this the right decision, no matter how small or big the decision is. I know I've always been considered myself like consistently indecisive. And it took me a while to realize that I wasn't trusting that intuition that I trust when I'm doing a massage, for example, for someone else, or
Mhm.
when I'm doing energy work for someone else. I wasn't listening to it for myself.
Yourself, yep.
Yeah. And so for me, it's about
Because that's the caretaker.
it's the caretaker and
Right.
it lets you people please because you're like, look, I'm so good at this thing. Um, and they're like, man, I wish I could do it to myself. And you can, you just don't. Like,
Right. Right.
so I think that so for me, it's around decision making can be, and I think also with, um, my big thing is ultimately telling people to choose themselves and that it's not selfish necessarily.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
And
It's
that
all the
it
time.
can
All
feel
the
really
time.
selfish, but ultimately,
But
my thing
why is selfish a bad word? It shouldn't be a bad word.
It shouldn't be. And I honestly think that if we chose ourselves more, there would be a lot more belonging, a lot more peace, a lot more like connection in the world. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because we think, oh, we're being selfish, we're isolating ourselves, sort of a thing. And no, I think that if you choose yourself more, you know yourself better. And so like my one of my big things is everyone deserves joy, respect, and pleasure. And you never have to prove yourself worthy or earn that, not even from
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's a birthright sort of a thing.
Right. It's a given. We're here.
And so like a really easy way to start practicing building that intuitive muscle and practicing decision making where you're choosing yourself is any choice that you're making throughout the day is does this bring me joy? Does this bring me respect? And does it bring me pleasure? And I
Mm.
think those are things that are not taken into
Good question.
consideration.
Did you hear that, people? Did you hear these questions? Say
I'm going to say it again for the people in the
it
back.
again. Say it again.
Whenever you come up across a choice or a decision you have to make, ask yourself of the options you have before you, which one or does this one give me joy? Does it bring me pleasure? And does it bring me respect from myself or from other people? And it's really about, I don't think that's something that a factor that gets taken into account when we're making choices or decisions in life. And I think it would change if we looked back and we chose that, we would make a lot of different decisions if we look back over our lives sometimes. Or and sometimes if we did choose that in the past, we're like, oh, that's why that worked out so well. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I do think that I see this a lot with some of my women clients. It's like, oh, well, let me ask my partner or my husband or my spouse or, girlfriend, whatever. And it's like, well, why?
right.
Because that's a different kind of influence. And what they have no idea, really. I mean, unless you're like super, super tuned in and you're on the same page all the time. But um, you have to listen to yourself.
You have to listen to yourself. And you also, it's like, it's great to keep your partner in the loop, of course, and have important conversations about big decisions, of course.
But I
But
think people use that as an excuse sometimes,
totally.
right?
Well, and like you said, the main question is why do you want to ask them? Are you outsourcing your power to that person because you don't trust yourself to make a good decision? Or do you need their permission to make a choice for yourself? Or do you want to just have a collaborative conversation and have them reflect some things back to you that maybe you're unclear about? Those are very different reasons to have a
Yeah,
conversation with a partner.
yeah.
Um,
Partner,
so,
friend, mother, daughter,
and whoever
whatever,
else.
anybody, right? Anybody.
Exactly.
But yeah, I see that so much. I'm like, just tell me what you want.
Right, right. Well, and I think a lot of people don't know what they want, and that's why they outsource because
And they
it's
don't know how to
hard to
check in.
know because they haven't listened to themselves. They haven't. So my whole thing is like leading from within. All of people feel frustrated in life, I think, because they have this feeling of untapped potential. They have this secret vision in their head of what they were supposed to do or what they actually secretly wanted to do or the impact they wanted to make or the influence they wanted to have, whether it's on their nuclear family or on their community or on the world at large. And um but they feel like they're small and they feel like that's never going to happen. And maybe they're trying to make it happen, but they keep getting in their own way and they can't make it happen. And that's frustrating to feel like you have all this that you could be, and yet you're like, "Ugh, it's not happening." And so I think a lot of that comes from you're trying to lead into the world to do the things, but you're not leading yourself. So I feel like when you lead yourself first, you have to be able to, what does everyone want? Everyone wants to feel seen, heard, witnessed.
Exactly.
So does your like inner self. So do all these little parts of you that you consider wrong or bad or whatever. And I think there's an inner knowing and inner witnessing of really allowing you to see yourself fully that then allows you to step forward more confidently and then be able to listen with that volume turned up on your intuition a little
Yeah.
bit more.
And I'm always saying you are here to take up space.
Exactly.
So show
Exactly.
up. Show up. participate in your life and share it. And some
Yes.
people are more extroverts and some people are introverts and some people want to be on stage and some people don't. Eh, you know, some people just want to cook a meal for their family and that's still showing up
Exactly.
and can be gorgeous, right?
Oh, it can be beautiful. And that's why you need to know yourself so fully because how you can model how someone else shows up. And I say model and try things out all the time. It might not feel right to you, but at least you'll have tried it out and you'll know. But I think you don't really know until you are kind of connected to that part of you that tells you how you want to show up in the world in a way
Yeah.
that feels good to you and in a way that kind of allows your fullness, your magnetism to really like fly so that other people know who you are, you know? So I think I could go down a whole
I know.
rabbit hole with this. Like,
There's a whole lot of conversations. So, okay. So what
okay.
I want to know about you.
Okay. What do you want to
So
know?
what do you do? So I'm always talking about self-care. I just love the idea of self-care. And I'm not talking about taking a bubble bath, although that's really good too. What do you do? Do you have, and you had brought up the idea of sacred structure too, um, in your bio to me. And I love that idea because again, I love to mix the woo with the practical.
Yeah.
What do you do? What is your structure? Do you have like a daily ritual or a weekly or a monthly? How do you take care of yourself, especially as you're serving people like this?
This has been a big thing for me, and especially over the last couple of years, I've had a lot of stuff going on that have pulled me into like kind of burnout, not focusing on myself. And I keep having to remind myself to come back in to that. And then it's constant, ever arcing spiral
It
of
is constant. And I will tell you, people, it is constant. I don't know, especially since we're creative and we're multi-passionate. I think those are good things to go through because they're learning and sharing and it being curious. But anyway, go on.
so I had a really recent big learning hit over the head with a cast iron lesson a couple months ago where I was going through a period of about 2 months of insomnia. Now, I'm always had not the best sleep hygiene. I am a consummate like night owl. Like my creative brain turns on between the hours of like 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., which is great if you don't have to like deal with the rest of the world the next day. But so it's always this like kind of catching up and, catching up on the weekends and not that much sleep during the week. But it's usually to my own choice, right? The For like March and February, I was literally insomnia where like I could not sleep and I felt like I was going crazy. Like it was like days on end where I was like barely getting any sleep. Anyways, what I'm grateful for about it now is that I finally got a handle on it and like was able to start getting regular sleep again. But it gave me this reset because my sleep patterning was so wonky that I didn't have like a rhythm anymore. And I decided to start going to sleep early and waking up early. And I knew it was going to be like, oh, that'll be nice. I cannot describe the like value that has brought to me over the last 2 weeks that I've started waking up regularly in a much more earlier time frame, sometime between like 5 and 8. It gives me this sense of like luxuriousness in the morning where say I set my alarm for 5 and I still want to sleep in an hour. I wake up at 6 and I'm still like have all this time before like the day starts. I'm able to take my dog for these long walks, so I feel like she and I are spending more time together. I can go to a coffee shop and do some like journaling because I want to, as opposed to it being this like I have to journal in the morning because I have to squeeze it in 5 minutes and it's stressful kind of a thing. I'm just sitting there having my tea at the coffee shop, making some journaling notes, having like letting my brain have space to be creative
Yes. Yeah.
and to breathe. And then I come back and maybe I do some breath work and like all these things that are always on my to-do list, but because I always sleep in and I never get enough sleep, it always kind of flies out the window. And then I show up at my first meeting kind of like, I'm here, I'm alive. Like, it's just this such a small, it's not a small change, it's a huge change
Mm,
because I literally felt like this was my chronotype, but I'll never be a morning person. And yet I was able to kind of take advantage of this crazy insomnia like cycle disruptor and make it so this has been a really cool self-care practice for me to really early morning rising felt like, wouldn't that be nice? And now it's like, oh no, I need this because the way I'm starting my day is so different. All the stressors are the same, all the time constraints are still the same, but I'm moving through them in such a more calm
right.
way. And even when I run out of time at the end of an evening, because of that, it's become so much the importance and the priority of it
I was going to
is
say
more
priorities. Yeah.
present in my body because I really feel how much it makes a difference that I just close the computer and I'm like, I'm going to bed early because I'll do better tomorrow if I do. And so that has been a recent learning for myself, for example, in terms of self-care. And so I wanted to share that because that's been a huge aha moment and
That's fantastic.
like,
Congratulations on doing
thank
that
you. Appreciate that.
and allowing yourself to do that and to feel the change. I mean, I've been an insomniac for a long time.
It's rough.
I, wake up at 3:30, 2 o'clock, 3:30, but I do get up around 5 because I love the morning.
I love the
And
mornings.
it sets my day up. And if I don't have, there's like non-negotiables. I have coffee with my dog
Mhm.
and my husband sometimes. He doesn't get up quite as early as we usually. And we go out in nature, we go for a walk, I journal, I meditate. Everything is different. Sometimes I cook, sometimes I, just walk outside, but um it gives me that space.
Yeah.
And we need that space. Why rush, 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 rush? When are you going to stop and take some space?
Well,
Right?
and that's, I agree. It's that space. It's that for me, the word has been like this luxuriousness, this feeling of just like
Hmm. I love that word. That's great.
luxury and pleasure, but not in like a fancy way. In this just, I'm just living and being present and feeling it like in my body. And I think that a lot of times when we do like visioning processes or anyone does visioning processes, we think about the future and what do we want? And like, maybe I want a house by the beach, or maybe I want, this really successful business, or I want a family and kids, or I already have a family and kids and I'm not spending time with them because I'm working all the time. And in my future, I have time freedom and I can spend more time with my kids. And I think that there's a really important aspect is what do you want that to feel like? Do you want to be with your kids and running around like your head's cut off like a kid, like a chicken? Or do you want to have this luxurious feeling of I'm with my family and I'm with my kids, or I'm spending time with my dog, or I am so in my business, but it's not this like stressful running around like a crazy person thing. I'm in my business and it's like this passionate thing that I'm excited about. Like, how does it feel? And I think that that's ultimately like, why do we want to live, right? Are we just living to go check off the list of things we want to achieve, or are we to have an experience? Um,
Definitely have an experience, right? Yes.
yeah.
There's so much to experience. And you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No, you never know. And so why not create the experience for yourself? And that's why it's so important that I wasn't sure to add in the pleasure thing because I know that word has some triggers to it sometimes when I say
And
choose your
so
joy, respect. Yeah, joy, have fun and add that. I think fun is like one of the biggest healers, but also respect, of course. I think it's hard to sometimes know if we're choosing things and we're really choosing our self-respect or not.
Mhm.
And but then pleasure, there has to be that sense of that luxuriousness, that pleasurable life
so
experience.
I mean, I get it, but why do you think that has a trigger?
I think there's a sexual connotation to the word pleasure, and that's
And
hard for people to talk about sometimes.
and why is that bad, right?
And it's also, I think, in the same realm of selfish, like um, this idea of experiencing a pleasure that doesn't have to be sex, of course, but it can just, but still,
But it
the
can
fact that
be.
the fact it can be, and that's also important.
Right.
I mean, I love talking about all the taboo topics with my clients, but because I think there's so much like depth in them. But I think that this idea of okay, say there's like a big decision or I don't know, a friend situation and you got some social pressure to do a thing or not do a thing. And if you ask yourself those questions, does this give me pleasure? And you have to go to some social event that you're like dreading. And the reason you choose to not do this, to not go to this event is because it's not pleasurable to you. It's like, is that a weird way to, why aren't you going to my party? It's not a pleasurable experience. Like, it's a weird conversation to have. And it's not something most people would accept as an excuse or a reasoning. So it's hard to, choose it for ourselves but it is actually I mean, I've had, experiences where I've kept going and you just hit a wall one day. I was doing like this one kind of socializing thing and I went one day and I don't know, the fog cleared or something and I was sitting there having these conversations with these people and I was just like, this is exhausting.
Yeah, yes.
Like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah,
Like I'm
right.
done, you know? And that was one of my biggest I think that was one of my best decisions I've ever made was I kind of pulled back from that group.
Well, you have to, well, social events. So you want to be around people that light you up, that
Right.
inspire you, that you can inspire. Um, uh, Here's a little example. I have a women's group here in a local in-person group called Creative Women of the Desert, and I've been trying to build this group for 2 years now, ever since COVID, really. But we had our annual gathering the other night, and it was like we sat around the table, and it was like every woman here was on fire, and I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about the weather.
No.
I don't want small talk. I'm not a small talk girl. And it was so powerful. And I know how much we need that type of connection.
Yes.
And if it's a social event that's going to light you up, but if it's not pleasurable, right? Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're
No.
saying.
Exactly. And I think that that's so important. And I'll say, I mean, I told you I went to Idlewood Arts, which is right near where you went for high school. And for me, that is, I had such part of the reason I chose the school, there was just this energy about it. And there was this like camaraderie about it. We're planning our 20th re high school reunion this year. Um, and so it's going to be,
Having my 50th.
So I'll be in your part of the neck of the woods in July. But I'm excited about it because the people that go there, that we all went to school there, like a lot of us are still in touch, and even when we're not, when we do come back into each other's like cross each other's paths, there's this a level of pleasure that I have in that connection, in that conversation, in the type of person who they were, that I'm always seeking. It's almost like a bar that I have that I'm like, I want that kind of connection when I interact with other people that I'm connecting with, sort of a thing. Um, and so,
And it's so important for your whole life of like who you surround yourself with, you
and
know.
then once again, you feel that it's not, is this the right person for me or are they not the right person in a headspace? You feel it, you have that internal experience of, like you said, feeling on fire, feeling lit up, feeling like peace,
Yeah,
and excitement, and not, oh, this is the right person to talk to in a logical way.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want to like come to your little office and read all of your books.
My whole
Killing me.
wall of books.
Killing me. I'm like, come on, what am I seeing back there?
So many books.
Mine's hidden over there somewhere. But so okay, we need to wind this up. But
Yes.
what's next for you?
What's next? I'm actually really excited about what's next. Um, I've just recently started doing, do you know John Berghoff of the Exchange Approach? with conscious leadership.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a really powerful group of people, and what they teach is this idea of conscious convening and the a way of doing. A lot of people take it into like the corporate world, but I'm really excited to bring it into my work. I'm building some groups online. And so like I have a Facebook group called the Cycle Breakers Collective, and I've been doing these really beautiful like clearing calls that are just kind of clearing through some of the cycles that need to be that need to be broken to be able to move forward from those things that just we don't. I call them the invisible hooks that are holding us back. We don't even know they're there sometimes. And so I love doing that group work. I think there's something really powerful about healing in a collective experience.
I totally agree.
About there's something there about being witnessed and held in that um power dynamic that allows you to like express your power and share your power in a way. And so I'm building on that. I'm working on a few different kind of master classes that I'm going to be putting out in the next few months. And yeah, I'm really leaning. I've always done mostly one-on-one work, and I'm really excited to start bringing in group work more and more. And
There's nothing like it. There's
there's
nothing
nothing
like
like
being in a
it.
circle. Yeah.
There's something about that circle, that community, that, and what I'm learning in this work about conscious leadership and conscious convening is there's real power in um, allowing people to be together in community and allowing that the connections to form. And it's not always about me here, let me teach you all the things. It's about let's come together and learn together. That brings out things you wouldn't have put on a syllabus necessarily. So
Excellent. Oh, well, I'm excited to hear about it as it continues for you. That's so
thank
cool.
you.
So, wow. Again, I know we could talk a lot.
Yes, yes.
We could talk a lot. And maybe we shall do this
Yeah,
again.
that would be
Um,
lovely.
and so all of you guys out in Heart and Hustle Land, this has been really juicy and so good and so inspiring. And if you want to connect with Mystral, you can get all of her information on my blog. It's there. And I think Embodied Magnetism is your
Yes.
website, right?
Yeah.
Embodiedmagnetism.com.
Yes.
You're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and you're
Yeah.
all names. So that's great. Oh, LinkedIn, you're under Mystral Echavvaria.
Yes.
Um,
And then if anyone wants to DM me on Facebook or Instagram, they can just say Heart and Hustle,
yeah.
and I will happily send you like a free, really powerful magnetic activation that I think
Can I
actually
have
you
one?
love. I will send it to you. I think
I
I
want
got
one.
a when I first created it, I sent it to a client of mine, and he said I felt like I was a shooting star. And so I feel like it's it'll get you this place of like unlimited potential kind of experience. So all
That
about creating the experience. So
That's juicy. That's gorgeous. Thank you. That's very generous. And thank you for spending time with me. I'm so happy to meet you and see what you're doing and creating and bringing to the world. It's so powerful. So
thank you so much.
powerful.
I'm
And
so glad we met.
I know, I know, sisters. We're sisters.
Sisters.
Um, uh, I love your energy and I love your curiosity.
I love like the energy that you bring to the podcast, and I love that you have this whole like, what do you call it, heart and hustle community or family or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah,
just think it's beautiful, and so I love what you're doing here, and happy to serve in any way.
absolutely fantastic. All right, my friends, thank you for being here for yet another episode of Heart and Hustle, where we are visionaries and leaders and movers and shakers and people
Yes,
creating change because we're curious.
exactly.
We are creative. We are full of love and power and beauty and uh, just all the good stuff. So until we meet again, many blessings.
Many blessings. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Oh.